Welcome back. Flat market on the Nifty, 3 points or so higher. What is the RBI likely to do today? Will they actually do anything, or will they just take stock of the economy before acting in November? That's the big question. We'll know by mid-afternoon today. To chat about that and more, we've got Mr. S.A. Ponce, Executive Director at Vijaya Bank, Abhik Barua, Chief Economist at HDFC Bank. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. Let's talk about just that first. Is there a strong enough reason, Abhik, for the RBI to do anything in this mid-quarter meeting? It's the first of its kind, so we don't know whether they're going to just take stock, put out a statement, or will they actually move on rates. What is your sense?
I think there is sort of some reason to hike rates perhaps now or in November because inflation is still high. From whatever we understand of the industrial growth numbers, they seem to have shown considerable traction. So clearly there is a case for continuing the rate hike cycle. My only contention is, and I'm in a minority who believes that there won't actually be a rate hike today, is that this will essentially be a review, a report card of the economy that will not contain any sort of significant policy moves. Instead, the policy move will come in November. And there are a couple of other reasons why I think it won't come now. One of the things is that liquidity is tight because of seasonal factors and so on, and it will continue to be tight for a while. Besides, I think the RBI needs to have a couple of sort of weapons in its arsenal to respond to an unforeseen contingency, maybe a spike in inflation going forward. For that, I think it should keep its sort of powder dry rather than use a policy tool immediately. Given these factors, I don't think they're particularly compelling not to hike rates. My sense is that they will stay on hold and do a rate hike in the November policy. That said, I must confess that from what I understand from market feedback, this is a minority view.
Okay, and the RBI is usually used to surprising the majority view. Ma'am, what's your sense?
Good morning. I would divide it into two parts. One is CRR and one is repo and reverse repo. A couple of factors if we see, that is monsoon has been very good and credit offtake has not been so high. Exports during last 5 months, if we see in 3 months, it has shown a negative growth and liquidity is tight. In my opinion, CRR would not be touched. But as far as other 2-3 factors are concerned, one is that the WPI, new series, if we see, even though we see that it's comfortable from 9.78 has come down to 9.5, but if we see the old series, it has come to 8.5, but if we see on the old series, it has from 9.97, it has just come down to 9.5. So inflation is still a major concern. And secondly, as far as IIP numbers are concerned, they are quite high, that is as high as 13.38 for July. And if we see last 5 months, the indirect tax, which has grown by 45%, which again denotes that there has been a lot of activity in the industrial production. So if we see this and liquidity, according to my opinion, there could be a 25 bips rate hike in repo and reverse repo.
Repo and reverse repo. But you don't think that want to sort of narrow the corridor, the interest rate corridor even more, like they did in the last meeting in July?
See, presently what has happened is they have just recently set up a committee to look at the LAF corridor length or width. I don't think presently RBI would like to touch the LAF corridor width.
Okay. Abhik, IIP numbers have been stunning, but there's also a sense of disbelief as far as those numbers go. A lot of people we've spoken to after those numbers, say that take that with a pinch of salt. What's your own sense? Like, for example, if you look at some cement sales, if you look at steel sales, which are released on a monthly basis, the optimism or the strong growth headline numbers on the IIP front don't really add up, don't really match up. Do you agree?
No, I completely agree with you. And when I saw the IIP numbers, especially the capital goods component, which has actually pushed the IIP up way above even the most optimistic expectation, there seemed to be something strange about it. It showed about 63% growth from what I remember. And that suddenly doesn't sort of tally with things on the ground. Now, there are sort of issues of data collection, methodology, etc., which could skew the number in a particular month. But I don't think the July number that we saw, which was spectacular, is representative of a trend. Certainly there is traction in the economy. Investment demand is strong. It's sort of coming from infrastructure sector, slowly spilling over to capex by the private sector. But it's not the kind of growth that would sort of, as you said, match up with a 13% plus IIP number. My hope is that the RBI is as sort of, if not skeptical, but cautious about viewing this number as an input into its policy decision. And that's sort of one of the reasons I believe that it'll stay on hold. I mean, it needs to sort of assess the situation, review things before moving. And I don't think the spike, if you like, in the IIP number for July is going to be a significant driver of its policy decision.
Okay, that's an important point. Avik, so say, for example, let's consider for a minute that the RBI stays pat, does nothing in this particular meeting. How much, where is the RBI, according to you, in the rate hike cycle? How much more is left?
My sense is that they're just maybe about 25 to 50 basis points from the sort of peak of the cycle. Given the various things they have done, given the change in liquidity, which has pushed up the effective short-term rate quite considerably, because the repo rather than the reverse repo rate has become the binding short-term rate. So given all that, I think maybe a 25, at most a 50 basis point increase in rates is due for the rest of the fiscal year. So we're sort of at the end of the rate tightening cycle. Having said that, I think the credit market has sort of lagged the policy rate cycle quite considerably. And I think we are now getting into a phase where you are likely to see lending rates getting sort of repriced upwards in response to a lot of the deposit repricing that has already taken place.
Ma'am, from a banker's perspective, and I'll throw in the stock market bit as well, bank stocks have been doing exceptionally well. Most stocks are at new life highs. The rationale given is that credit growth will usually be 3 times what the GDP is growing at. So if your GDP is growing at 8%, it'll be 24% plus sort of growth that we're looking at on the credit side. What is the evidence on the ground? What are you seeing from a banking perspective, from a banker's perspective?
From the banker's perspective, if I see the second half of the year will definitely show a good credit growth. And if we consider the credit growth during the year 2010-11, overall we will see a total credit growth of 18 to 20%. More growth will be seen in the retail sector. Presently we see a higher growth in the corporate sector picking up, and infrastructure definitely it is picking up. As far as next year is concerned, I think as a banker I would be quite gung-ho on the retail sector. It is going to show very good growth, and when the retail sector growth is there, definitely the FMCG sector would definitely show growth, and the corporate also would show good growth. So in my opinion, during the next year we should be seeing 25 to 30% credit growth.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time and your thoughts here, as always.